How'd you think McLean looked out there?
Nolan, pretty good. We all saw it, work on all of his pitches. It's just the way he continues to throw the baseball, and he was able to go 3 ups, up to 50 pitches. It's just right now, just continue that build up. But man, like we all know his ability to spin the baseball, and we see it right away. This early, and he's able to manipulate that ball like that. It's just so much to like, and you just continue to see it even on live VPs.
Carlos, how much have you gotten to know Blanco at this point, and just what kind of presence do you think he is for that room, and just meshing with everybody?
It's a big presence. A guy that has been in this league for a long time. A lot of playoff series for him, and a lot of success as well. Quiet, I think, is one of those guys that is going to lead by example. He showed up here way before the position players needed a report. And we're just pleased with how everything is going so far with him, especially with the knee and all the things that we've been working on. Very open to suggestions, especially at first base, not afraid to ask questions. And it's going to take some time for him to continue to make that transition, because like I said, there's so much that goes behind learning a new position. But as far as like his presence and all that, like great guy, and just continue to look for build a relationship with him.
The guys you are not slow playing, Soto, Bichette, Semien, are they all going to be in there tomorrow?
They are going to be there tomorrow. Semien, Soto, Bo, those guys will be in the lineup tomorrow.
I know it's just the first game of Grapefruit League, but given what you guys did with the roster this year, how eager are you to get a first look at this new team that you've got?
Yeah, I think I'm just excited to watch baseball. It's been a long off season, and we finally get to see the guys out there competing, being around each other in the dugout, start having those interactions. When you got guys hitting behind the other, what they see on a pitcher, and just speaking the same language there. I think it's always great, but again, I think it's just the fact that we get to play baseball tomorrow.
Because of the turnover with the roster, is there more importance on these games leading up to the regular season, just because you want to get a look at guys, how they work together, how they play together?
I don't think so. I mean, it's always important. It's always a priority, whether you have that type of turnover or not. I mean, you're always building those relationships. You're setting up that, building that foundation here. And that happens when you start playing games. So it's been a point of emphasis since day one, but I think that's been the case last year, the year before. So, like I said, it's just good that we get to play.
Personality-wise, what's been your impression of Devin Williams? And I guess what type of influence do you think he can have on maybe the less seasoned members of the bullpen?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been a guy. And last year, it wasn't easy for him at the beginning, and he made some adjustments. But as far as the personality, he's quiet. But, man, like, he's a worker. He's a worker. But you just have to approach him and start those conversations with him. And that's what I've done since he got here. Wheeler is doing a hell of a job, in the whole pitching group. And once you get to talk to him, he's pretty open about. But yeah, again, we got to get into competitions, and part of that building the relationship is just the communication part of it. What we're thinking before a game, before a series, how he's feeling in certain days. But yeah, that back and forth already is happening.
And just in regards to Willard, I mean, now working with him for a good bit of time, what have you learned about him and his style and his approach to his?
He's got a really good way to go about it, and he showed that when he was going through the interview process. Really good people skills, and that at this level or at any level, not only you could be really, really smart, but you got to have that touch, right? You got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to relate. You got to be able to meet people where they at. And man, he continues to show that here. It's been pretty impressive too.
Luke Weaver's been through quite a bit in his career, but now he seems to have sort of tapped into something. How do you keep him on this track and get him to continue doing what he was doing with the Yankees to be able to maximize his use?
Yeah, proud of him. This is a guy that had to work really hard. DFA was given an opportunity, and now here he is, being one of the guys. But he's hungry. He's always looking for ways to get better, and that's what makes these guys, not only Weave, but everyone at this level, like they want to be the best. They want to be elite. They continue to work on the things that they feel like they need to work on and improve. And in his case, like it's never been easy for him. And it'll continue to be that way, like you got to keep those guys hungry, and he'll be ready to go.
Carlos, I know it's only spring training, but when you see that last at-bat between McLean and Soto and the compete level, that at-bat was like 2 minutes and neither one was given an inch. How does that set the tone for the rest of the guys when they watch a battle like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's special, right? When you got a hitter that like Juan, and then you got Nolan there, you just see the velo ticks up, and then Juan is like, all right, I'm going to get you, so it's kind of like that game where the pitcher's trying to mess with his mind, he's trying to get him, and that's what good or elite players do, and you saw it right there. We saw flashes of it. You just hopes that everyone comes out of fine, which they did, and it's just fun.
Mendy, you've been around a lot of clubhouses. What are the attributes that make a good clubhouse other than winning?
Man, good people, guys that have each other's back. They're committed. They communicate. The trust factor here, like they got to be able to trust each other. That's where everything starts, and that happens with constant communication, holding each other accountable. That's what good clubhouses are. Guys that can trust. Like I've been saying, they don't have to be best friends, but like you look to your right, you look to your left, and that you trust that those guys are prepared and they're gonna go out there and compete. Like that's all you could ask.
One last thing: am I simplifying this, or is it important too to have ball players? As crazy as it sounds, but like you bring in a Bichette.
Yeah, I mean,
ball
yeah, I know what you mean, Kevin. It's you got to go out there and you got to execute. You got to play baseball. You got to execute fundamentals. Whether from the position player side, like Boy's being a guy that takes pride of two-strike approach, putting the ball in play, hitting behind runners with runners in scoring position, and the numbers don't lie. And we feel like we got few of them. We felt that way last year as well, in the previous year when I was here. I'm just excited to. You mentioned Bo. He adds that to the equation there. So I'm excited to have him.
I know we haven't seen it yet, but what about Brett Baty's skill set gives you confidence that he'll make a successful transition to the outfield at the major league level?
Yeah, the athleticism. This is a guy that I didn't know which way he was going to go last year when we asked him to play second base. Not an easy position, especially when you're used to playing on the left side and it's a corner position. You're talking about up the middle when there's so much going on, whether it's turning a double play, being on the cuts and relays, and he made that transition easily, right? So again, I'm gonna go back to the athleticism, and he's familiar with the outfield. Now we just got to get him reads with angles and things like that. But he enjoys being that type of player, and he takes it personal. So as a manager, you need players like that, not only when you're making out a lineup, but when you're making in-game move, when you have that ability to just put people in different places.
Do you have an idea yet of when he might be able to be in the outfield?
Yeah, the infield part is going to be the first. He continues to progress. But before we put him in the outfield, especially in a game, it's going to be, I don't know. I don't want to put a timeline, but we'll see him in the infield first.
Carlos, I assume rock, paper, scissors won't be enough. What do you think of that? It was indistinguishable whether that was a ball or strike.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know, but that goes to show you the competitors. Like Nolan is fighting for that pitch to be a strike. You got Soto fighting for that pitch to be a ball. And it's like, all right, let's compete here and rock, paper, scissors. So it's just making it fun.